Hello, hello, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
We're ready to begin. All right, call to order, 11:30 a.m. on September 23rd. This is the Results Committee meeting. We have myself as Chair, Elizabeth Hay, and Colonel Geyer, and David Carr, Dr. Carr, excuse me. Also present is Mr. Dallas and Dr. Rodriguez. Oh, yes, and online we have Leah Frazier and Will Smith. Yes. So if we can call this meeting to order, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Do we have a second? Thank you. And now we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, did I need to ask if the media has been notified, Robin? Yes, they have been. Do we have public comment? No, ma'am. All right, moving right along. The first order of business today will be the discussion of the board rating board rating requirements for the 2024 through 2025 evaluation and for future evaluation. So that is the discussion of us as board members when we're rating the superintendent for the academic year. So it has been brought to my attention that we at times have ratings that are given that do not come with an explanation. The superintendent can't build off of failures or improvements or anything if we're not giving him constructive feedback. So we do have a motion in place, but if anybody has any discussion about thoughts on our ratings and what we should require from ourselves, and governing one another, if you will, let's open that up for discussion. Or the motion, whichever way. We can give the motion and then discuss it if necessary. What page are you on? There's no page at the moment because we're just discussing our review and rating system for the superintendent.
I might suggest we put the motion on the floor.
Yep, so that we can discuss it. Do you want to read it?
I would be honored to.
Thank you, Dr. Fox.
Motion to move that if board members are rating the superintendent at a rating of 1, they must include a minimum of 2 to 3 sentences as an explanation. Explanations are not to be repeated in the evaluation. Any repeats will be exempt from inclusion. This rating requirement will be effective for the 2024-2025 academic year and the preceding years.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make an amendment to the motion to include, after you have a 2 to 3 sentence explanation after that sentence, to say this will also apply to a rating of 4. They must include a 2 to 3 sentence explanation.
Or we could do as the amendment, Robin, if you're taking notes, that it's a 1 or 4.
One,
you know,
one
in the
or
original sentence.
That would be even easier.
Yeah. Which I'm completely in support of.
I might take it a step further. Why not write a 2 to 3 sentence explanation, regardless of the number?
I can understand that, but it's a lot for all of us. So I think what we were wanting is in the extremes, you know, polar opposites. So the 1 versus the 5, or excuse me, a 4. Anything in the middle is really, I hate to use this term, but average. Whereas if we're giving that he's highly effective, we want to similarly give him the feedback of why we think he is highly effective. We're not given, since this is your first year sitting with us during an evaluation, we're not given much time to turn this around. Right. And it is a lot to read through and go through just in general. So
Can you state your amended motion again?
Yes, so the first, it would just be that in that first sentence, a rating of 1 or 4.
1 or 4.
Just go for it, if you only.
Mm-mm. That would be the easiest way.
Perfect.
So, oh, should I ask online? Does anyone online have any feedback?
Not at the moment.
Thank you, Leah. Ms. Frazier? Mr.
Um,
Smith?
Yes, actually, so my question becomes, are we evaluating ourselves or are we evaluating the superintendent? Because you can't, I've never heard of an application where when you evaluate someone, they tell you how you have to evaluate someone. If you, either you're evaluating them or you're not, I think what we're doing is we're trying to force the board to give answers. If the board in years in past years past practices, if you want to say something, then you can. If you want to tell him, then that's upon you as the board member. But what we don't have the authority to do is tell board members that, hey, based upon what you give him, that you have to say something. No, as a teacher, when the teacher gives you the grade, the teacher can tell you, hey, look here, you got the answer wrong, or teacher gives you the grade. She don't have to go in depth of why you got the grade you got. Me, you yourself, you know why you got the grade that you have. So I think that that's to put that in there is uneffective, is unproductive, because the board member still does not have to put why they give the why they put down what they put down. So I think that that's not really a part of the purpose of why we're here today. So I think it's it's uncounterproductive.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Moving on.
Ms. Frazier says, in the chat, feedback is necessary for growth. You would be a terrible teacher if you gave a grade without an explanation.
Thank you, Ms. Frazier. We also have Mr. Dallas.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I support what Ms. Frazier is saying. Part of a performance review is to help guide to greater performance, and that includes some degree of specificity, so the person knows what we've seen and then what they need to work on. So I applaud the 1 or 4. I think it's very good. 2 or 3 sentences or whatever the motion says, I think is very appropriate. It's not overbearing.
Perfect. Do we want to move forward with the motion, or are there any other comments?
I would echo that there needs to be a justification for the rating.
And we are always welcome, as Dr. Carr suggested, we are always welcome if we want to make commentary anywhere when we are evaluating. So even if we're providing a 2 or a 3, we can still give feedback. So if that's it, we can move forward with the motion. If anyone, should we reread it, Robin?
I have another comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith, and then we will move on.
If you got some place to be, then I mean, then let us know. But this is a
Excuse
meeting
me,
for
sir,
this.
we will not be disrespectful in this meeting. Please, you
No,
are given the floor. Please
I'm
speak to
not.
us
I'm not being I'm not being
interrupting me,
disrespectful.
And we will move forward. You are being disrespectful to
No,
everyone.
you're being disrespectful by talking to me while I'm talking. I made a
Also,
comment, so I'm not being disrespectful at all.
Okay, can we move forward with the motion, please?
I'll call the question.
Motion, I move that if the board members are rating the superintendent at a rating of 1 or 4, they must include a minimum of 2 to 3 sentence explanation. Explanations are not to be repeated in the evaluation. Any repeats will be exempt from inclusion. This rating requirement will be effective for the 24-25 academic year and the preceding years.
Oh, call the vote. All those in favor in the room, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone online?
No, they can't.
Oh, they're not allowed. I'm sorry. I forgot. It's just us committee members here. I get too excited. All right. Thank you all. All right, so the next topic for discussion is a change to the measurable components section of the evaluation, which can be found, if I remember correctly, on page 10. What we are proposing, and Robin so nicely helped structure this for today's meeting. What we are proposing, and we'll also be looking at, well, I'll do that next, because we're going to discuss the weight percentage adjustment after this. What we're looking at doing is removing the gap closure portion of the superintendent's components and adding superintendent's projects. Now, what those projects will be determined by the board and the superintendent together. The proposal, which we just didn't have enough room to write in this block section, is that the superintendent is given 2 to 3 projects at a time that are voted on by us as the board working with the superintendent. Those projects can be academic, they can be technology driven, they could be safety, but the purpose of this is to give him an actual list of measurable items that we can see the movement on throughout the year to then grade him, for lack of a better term, appropriately throughout the year. The removal of gap closure, the justification behind that is that was implemented during COVID. We're now 5 years out from COVID. It's also my understanding that gap closure has closed to a point where it's almost, well, I should say it's minuscule at this point. And the superintendent is also the furthest individual from the classroom. We're not given the district report card, as I understand it, until after the school year has closed. So there's really no way for us to be grading him during that academic year for information we don't even have during that academic year. So as it would stand, he would have achievement, superintendent's projects, and college and career readiness. And again, because this would be project based, you know, if one project falls behind in any academic year, it could simply be continued into the next academic year. So it's not that we have to throw out, you know, these were the 3 projects for this year, now we're done, we throw all those away and move forward. This can be completely fluid, but it gives him something to work toward and come to us and say, hey, I've succeeded on these 2 projects, I might have fallen short on this one project, but it gives us something to measure against. So,
And this would be in the narrative?
yes,
When he brings back his feedback at
Correct.
the end of the year and say, okay, this is the he's gonna tell us now, or at the start of this new process, this is a new
Correct. Correct.
system. These are the projects, and this is what I expect to get accomplished.
Correct.
And we approve that, and then in his response back at the end of the year, they'll say, okay, I told you I was going to produce this.
Yeah.
And this is what I produced, and this is what, and continue on and so on. Is that,
Correct.
okay, I got it.
Dr. Carr and Mr. Dallas?
Yeah, so I guess in this middle block between achievement and college and career ready, it was gaps closed.
Mhm.
Okay, so, all right, that helps me understand that.
Correct.
So, and this is for 25, 26.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. The challenge that I have is that running a large organization like this, you really are graded on outcomes, normally numerical outcomes, specific outcomes. Increase in revenues or increase in student scores. That's why you create a school system. Projects really carry much less value in sort of my estimation, because you can do a project, do it extremely well, and it not have the efficacy that we need. So to achieve what you're suggesting, I would suggest we just saw with Superintendent Weaver, whereas 75, 75, 92 is,
They don't have that.
they don't have 92. 75, 75 is 2030, right?
Mhm.
So that means if we were to take the progress made to date and extend it for the next, 5 years, 4 years, and carve that up so it was a numerical value, I think that would give him or the superintendent, the latitude to say, here are all the things I'm going to do. If they work, hallelujah. If they don't, then he and his team know they need to take some type of corrective action and sooner rather than it getting to the end of the year. So I'm just trying to say, with the progress you made, let's take one of the metrics that was at 65 instead of 75. 75 is the goal in 2030. So if you were to break that up in what, 4 years, that'd be about 2.5% per year for 4 years. That would get you to the 75, and that could be something that he could work toward and his team.
If you want, you look like you're wanting
Hey,
to
look like
say
you're
something,
ready.
so I don't want.
I think the state's 75, 75, right,
Mhm.
is also an aspirational goal that everybody is gonna work towards, okay? 2030 is the due date,
Mhm.
right? When's the election?
2026.
It's not on 2030,
Mhm.
right?
I'm trying to follow you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, in 2026, right? People don't have the final measure to make their decision with, right? Okay, which is different than an evaluation every single year, right? In the sense that it's an aspirational goal, right? So in 2030, the state gets to 65,
Mhm.
right? The reward is the beneficiary of, it's already been dished out in 2026, which is a real edge.
Mhm.
You understand?
I
Right?
do.
And that's
I'm with you.
different
I'm with you.
than an individual every single year, right? On an evaluation, right? It's bold, it's an aspirational goal that we've set. We're driving hard to the hoop. We're trying to get there. We do everything we can to get there, right? You know, that's, I think, if you don't get there, right?
Mhm.
Of course, you're gonna shift gears, you're gonna adjust, you're gonna do all those things, you know. But I'm just being cautious because this was already mentioned, right? The only individual in the organization that can have that metric, yet the furthest from the bunch.
I don't buy that, to be
Okay.
honest with you. As the head of an organization, you got influence. You create the culture.
Yeah.
So just because that staff group doesn't report to me,
Yeah.
I still have a say in how they perform. So you're the singular point person in the organization. It's hard for me
Yeah.
to sit and say yes to what I'm hearing is you can't hold me accountable.
No, that's not what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
You got various ways to hold me accountable. In fact, you don't even need this if you want to get rid of the superintendent.
We don't want to get rid of the superintendent. We're trying.
I understand. No, I understand. I got
Okay.
that, right? I'm just saying, right? If we're talking, in the end of the day, with accountability, right? If the board's not happy with any aspect of it, right? You don't need that. You can just make a decision, right? You see what I'm saying?
I do, but
So it's not about me not wanting to be accountable. I've been accountable my whole life and my whole career,
understand.
you know?
Okay.
In fact, I came from a system where actually student achievement was on there because that was the state's rule.
Okay.
But it's not the state's rule here. And here, we would be creating the scenario where the actual numbers would only be applicable to me, not anybody else, because the actual numbers.
Don't you manage the principals?
But
Who manages them?
well, when do the results come out?
That's up to you.
No, it is
No,
not.
it's not up when the results come out, but it's up to you to manage and motivate people.
That is, but when do the results?
Every leader I've ever known has to do that.
I agree
And
with
not
you.
only that, every goal I've ever had is aspirational. It's
Should
not
be. I
called
think
you
it should
glide down the ski slope.
I think it should.
No.
But when do these results come out?
we can make adjustments for that by going to, remember 10%. If there's a gap of 10%, you divide it over the remaining number of years in the target, 75, whatever, right? You not with me?
I'm with you, but the results come out
I
after the
understand that.
evaluations have
I'm
been.
getting ready
have
to
been
show
performed.
you how to do it,
Okay,
which is, I think, fairer. So instead of saying you gotta hit 10 by 2030, yes. But if you break it up, 2.5% improvement each year, you meet each year, you're gonna achieve that. But if you don't in 1 year, you know you're off track and you gotta amp up. That's all.
no, I don't think we're saying this. I think we're saying, I think we're interchangeable, but I don't think we're saying the same.
I understand.
Okay. When the state gives you the results, right? Everybody in the organization has already had their evaluations completed because there's a due date that's required by the state for that. It's already gone. As soon as they're out in September, the first raw data pieces are out. That happened at the end of last school year.
Okay,
See what I'm saying?
I do see what you're
Yeah.
saying, then that to me is something we need to pursue legislatively.
Well, I was just gonna say, is that
So
something
if that's a
legislative
hurdle,
committee?
let's address the doggone hurdle.
Yeah,
But we gotta synchronize performance and reward,
Yeah.
right? I understand with that,
Yeah.
absolutely. But at the end of the year, when my boss is grading me like a darn 3-leg mule pulling a plow,
yeah.
I wanna be rewarded like a 5-leg mule winning the dirt.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I'm trying to get to that, so you don't have that stagger. Yeah.
I understand,
Okay,
but we will be agreeing to something, right? With the assumption
I'm through.
that you're gonna
Yeah.
be able to
I'm through.
impact that at a legislative level,
So
right? I'm with you, but that's what we would be doing.
the
That's all.
suggestion would be, I think, to move forward with leaning on legislative, but also one of the projects could be something outcome based.
Is outcome an activity or result?
A result.
If it is an empirical result, I'm fine. I don't pay for activities.
No, I
I know.
understand. I'm trying to bridge the, I'm
Might
trying
not
to
work.
close the gap.
I understand.
Between the two, so that if it's a result driven outcome from that project, then that would be perhaps the stipulation being one of these 3 projects, or one of the projects at all times has to be a result based
I'm fine.
project. Does
Long as
that
some,
make sense to everyone? Or am I, okay, all right, I think Colonel Geyer had a comment as well.
You know,
Okay.
the hard part of this business is, unlike the military or a corporation, your outcomes are dependent on your employees, who you have powers to discipline, remove, or whatever. And in that environment, I can see how you can expect and demand progressive and sequential improvement. Because I can take my person who's turning the screw or providing the output, and I can manage that person much more than I could manage a student, a teacher, and a family. And that's where I get squishy on this. And what I see, and now in 7 years, is I've seen the ups and downs in different classes at different schools. And you'll get a teacher, they'll have the dynamite class, and it connects, and they do extremely well. And then the next year, they'll get a bunch of doofuses in there, and they just don't mesh, and they just don't come together. And so that performance for that teacher slides. And what you hope is that the sine curve is a constant upward. Because you've got to have a common denominator that says it's going upward. But it's very, very difficult to try to evaluate a school and education than it is to how much oil you pump or how much profits you make or how much performances you achieve with an employee vice a student. And of course, you got another variable in the parent that's there. So this is hard business.
Yeah. So I was so far removed from people that turn the screw, to use your example. So many levels. But what a leader is responsible for is what culture do you establish? And how many moves in personnel, teachers, and others have we seen this year? So there has to be some reason for the moves. If it's performance, which we haven't gotten into the details because that's not our role, but if there's performance, it seems to me people are getting moved. And so again, I think that refutes that the superintendent doesn't have the influence. And like I said before, at certain levels you get influence. And that's what we have to make sure we're using. Because you're not going to have everybody reporting directly to you. You got to motivate people. So I think segmenting it by year so that it's a rateable progression that he or whoever, not superintendent when I say he or whoever, I'm just being my normal country bumpkin self, okay? All right, so with that, that means everybody can look at it and say, how did we do? It's not, do or die any one particular year, but it motivates the whole organization to say, I gotta move forward. As an example, and no one wants to hear about petroleum, right? It's a ruthless business. It is a commodity business at its core. Everybody can look at the exchange, New York Mercantile, and see what the cost of my crude is. Then it's up to me to figure out ways to optimize that return on that crude, right? And so with us as students, do they see us improving? Do they see the output improving? That's the only thing, and I think it would, instead of having you got to meet it by 2030, and then people say, like some of the naysayers, oh, well, you didn't do enough this year. And I think we can help protect the superintendent in that regard. That's it, and I stand down.
Okay. Dr. Carr?
It's more of sort of if we went forward with rating projects that you wanted us to look at, would they be projects that would have a longer term than a year? So, or are we just, would you do between here and here?
And just as a quick correction, it's not just what he
Yeah.
says, it's an agreed upon plan.
Right. Yeah, I would think it would have to be on, set projects. I think it depends on what that project is.
Yeah, I can,
Yeah,
there's
and then-
some that would have
There's
more
something
one
give
that
and
want
take.
to
plan and execute on,
Yeah.
and we're there, and then I think if it's a long-term project, right, I think you would use your rating, which would say reasonable progress, recent progress, with no exceptions, that's all fair, would be my guess.
Yeah.
But it would have, I think those projects need to be agreed upon projects because I think, one, you have to be able to say, yeah, we agree with that as a viable project for the purpose of the evaluation. And secondly, I think, you would have to say, you would have to be able to, and I would have to be able to say on my end, this is a project that we think we can, utilize our existing staff with existing responsibilities and identify, I think given the whole totality of what we're doing, we can execute on this with reasonable work and expectation would be my thought on that.
Mr. Smith?
First off, let me start by saying, in terms of what you're proposing,
we already, from my understanding, we already evaluate the superintendent based on projects, based upon under facilities. So we already evaluate him on that, because I'm sure that,
Can you tell us what page that's on?
which areas of facilities,
What?
Mr. Odding area, which area is that? That's what that, operations, so he's already evaluated on that, under operations. So that's to my recollection is that is already a part of the operations evaluation.
For Mr. Otting?
No, because the first off, Mr. Odding's work for him, anything that Mr. Odding is doing, it comes directly fall up under him because Mr. Odding, he's the boss to Mr. Odding, so therefore, anything under operations come directly to Dr. Frank Rodriguez or the city superintendent. So and so that was already, and that was why when they came up with this with this tool, that I believe that was already in there, because they said that at that time they didn't want us cherry picking things in terms of the different the different projects that was out. So therefore, so that we wouldn't be cherry picking things, it all fall up under operations. And so now what I'm hearing is that we want to cherry pick, or we want to say, hey, we want to grade him on each individual project or on projects as it has been. So once again, are we rewriting the whole will, or are we rewriting the whole thing? Because this was already talked about in our previous in previous meetings. That's why it was important to understand exactly what this tool was and why it was so important to have these meetings. But in terms of doing what we're talking about now, this falls under operation, and operations falling under him. So, and in the past years, when we've had meetings in terms of executive session, anything any issues that operations have had, we have discussed that with the superintendent and play private. And his evaluation we have to reflect those. So that's my first point. My second point is this. In terms of us, I'll say this. In terms of us evaluating the superintendent, I do agree with what was said prior to me getting here. In terms of, and I was listening to Mr. Geyer and Colonel Geyer and Mr. Dallas talk, and even in his colonel role as a colonel of base, regardless of what those military recruits are, regardless of what those DIs do, you still held responsible. And one of those on paradigm go out right now and her to recruit, the general he still has a responsibility of it. So and I say that to say, in other words, regardless to whether they get a class of hot heads, at the end of the day, the teacher is still held when she do her evaluation. That's why we have teams to go out. The evaluation still sits on the teacher. And teachers have brought me these same questions and asked me how we evaluate the superintendent, and they felt that their evaluations are much harder than what the superintendent is. So I mean, so I'm just bringing out issues to make sure that we are fair across the board, and in terms of how we are running an evaluation system, because people are watching, and there have been people and teachers in the community who have brought this to my attention, who are watching and who are seeing what tool we're using. So that's the importance of understanding what we're doing and how we are best utilizing our tools to do everything that should be done. Now, how we do it in terms of how each individual person view the whoever the city superintendent is at that time, then that's up to you. But the tool is there, then use it. But in terms of that, I would say that the tools are with the component y'all talking about putting in the tools, are that component is already in the tool.
Ms. Frazier, do you have a comment? Or is she written?
I don't at the moment.
Thank you. Do we want to move forward with the motion? Did you make notes on it, Dr. Carr, or no? Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Dallas, yes.
I just want the superintendent to leave here at this meeting understanding I'm one of your biggest supporters.
I understand, yeah.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
part of this is we all should have the same goal, which I know you do. And I obviously know Dr. Rodriguez does, but part of making these alterations is to make this appealing to, we love and admire Dr. Rodriguez, but he won't be our superintendent forever. So if we have, if we have measurements where a new superintendent would look at this and know, I'm gonna fail based on these standards, based on when the report card's given, based on all these things, would you really take a job where you knew the evaluation tool was set for a massive area for you to fail, that you could never succeed in? So that's looking down the road, trying to envision being prepared for those things in the future. But yes, I just wanted to say we are all on the same team.
And and
Yeah, go ahead. No problem.
I'm just saying, I want you to understand, I know that, I'm not taking it that way. We may have, we sit in different seats
Mhm.
at the moment, right? And we look at things, sometimes with the same angle,
Mhm.
and sometimes, with a different angle.
Correct.
Given,
Correct.
some of the realities that I know I have to work with it. Sometimes I might have to work. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that you support
Okay. Perfect.
or anybody else.
Perfect.
And thank you, I appreciate the comment, because I was gonna say the prior comment to that, when you go out, you say things like that, and I know Mr. Dallas support you as the chair of this board. It comes across as very dangerous rhetoric. I'll say that as the what you just said. Oh yeah, I know Mr. Dallas. I know you support whatever that means, but that I felt that was necessary. I'm going to put that out there. But anyways, in terms of what my colleague just says, it speaks to the respectfully. It speaks to the as Mr. Dallas would say, the newbies coming in, because our superintendent coming in understands that they're not really, when they come for a job, they haven't even seen this. They haven't even seen this tool, so therefore they won't apply to this job about this tool. Most of the time, because that's the case. Dr. Rodriguez came in on a 6-5 votes. Some board members won't even come in. Some superintendents won't come in on a 6-5 on a 6-5 board vote. So that was cool, because he made a bold decision to say, look here, I'm not afraid of a challenge. So I applaud him. I'm not afraid of a challenge. I can come in and turn that around, and I can get this district moving. And that's exactly what his focus was, and that's what he wasn't afraid to come in and do. And he's made superintendent of the state. Is that correct? So he came in on that 5-6 vote, but some superintendents won't do that. So I think to say that and not be an experienced board member could be hypocritical. So let me finish. Let me finish respectfully. Let me finish. So my point is there. So I just think that it's not about the tool being so hard. It's about the tool moving the district forward and offering different different views, and also areas to allow the superintendent to best minimize the capability here. And I'll leave it there.
This tool is public. Anyone taking a role that is like a superintendent is essentially the CEO of the school district. I know many CEOs, CFOs, you pick it, chief growth officers, on and on. They always know their package before they sign a deal. And they will also come at you with constructive criticism on how to change their evaluation before they take a position. So that is not a factual statement to say that they would never see this and they would have no say. That is not the case. Would someone like to make the motion?
That part may be, but at the end of the day,
Most of them,
Dr.
let's go.
Dr. Carr has the floor.
5, 6 when he came in.
Motion to remove gap closure from measurable components section of the evaluation tool, and in its place, the addition of superintendent's projects. 2 to 3 projects will be selected by the board and superintendent.
Second?
Oh, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Moving on to the next item, discussing the weight percentage change. So the way this is working to actually have accountability in the measurable components of the evaluation is that we are increasing that section's weight from, I believe, 25% to 30%. Where that extra 5% is coming from is the teacher recruitment and retention section, dropping the weight of teacher recruitment and retention to 10% and moving an extra 5 over to the measurable components of student achievement. The thought process behind that being that we are in a national shortage for educators that is out of any superintendent's hands. And we all know that the team that Dr. Rodriguez or whoever is our superintendent oversees has a team in place that is vetting and recruiting our staff. So that was the thought process between moving 5% over to actually make us even more weighted on student achievement. Any discussion? Mr. Dowd?
Yeah. Sorry. So I'm on page
10?
10, yes, ma'am. And it's 30%. I see that.
Yep.
These add up to 30 on the left, on the column achievement, projects, and I think the percentages should be inverted. I think the reason you create a school district is to have people come out and be career ready in college. Yes. Achievement, yes. The projects, I would recommend that it be a different scale. Probably heavier weighting on achievement and college or career ready,
Okay.
and less of a weighting, certainly not 20%.
So what would you propose? Do you have like an 8, a 10, 10 and 10 on career and achievement?
Me, for projects versus what God and everybody looks at, which are our scores and what we actually do, I would say 12.5, 5, and then 12.5.
5, 5, and 12.5.
So he still gets the projects that are selected that the board supports, but we're not diverting attention from the numerical values that people could be judging us on.
Thank you.
I know, I can see that, I can see it.
Well, because my thought process behind that is I never want to see students being pushed through, not that I think he would ever give this directive,
Right.
but I don't want to see students being pushed through who aren't ready for graduation and aren't capable. You know, there are already parental whispers that that's already happening in our district, especially when we go to graduations where every student seems to be wearing 10 honors tassels. So my only concern with that would be that we'd be pushing more of that, would be my concern only there. However, like I said, I'm just processing because I don't see Frank giving that directive, like push all the students through, no matter, you know, no matter their scores. And I'd be fine to move the achievement up. Does anyone else? I don't want to take over. Colonel Geyer?
Yeah, I
I
worry about the college and career ready being pushed up, and I'll tell you why. Because what I have seen and was very suspicious about when I first came on the board, when I saw graduation rates and college and career rates go up, I said, what was the reason for that? And they said, oh, well. I said, well, did your ASVAB and your SATs go up the same percent? No, they did not. So that told me intuitively we lowered standards to get to that. And that concerns me.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of like leaving sometimes when you put too much emphasis on something, you get the second, third order effects.
Mhm.
And that's what I worry
That's,
about.
yeah, we
And
were
that's-
bearing the
I-
thing,
I-
yeah,
I think,
you're just verbalizing it
Right.
differently,
Well,
yeah,
well,
that's the same
well, I
page.
think we're on the same page there. But I do think achievement should be more than 5%.
Mhm.
But, and maybe change it a little bit, but college and career ready, I'm just hesitant.
Dr. Cry? Welcome.
When we first thought about percentages, I said, oh, well, 10, 10, 10.
Mhm.
I'm hearing good arguments. So, I mean, I'm pretty flexible, but I would agree that achievement in college and career ready should be substantially more than 5.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I could do 12, 12, 6, and then you consider rounding number.
Well, and I think the only reason I had, and this was just a proposal for discussion, this wasn't
Good.
obviously me making a
Good.
unilateral decision. It was simply because of the weight of the projects he could be saddled with. Because that's up to us and him together, you know, if it's results driven, is it worthy of like essentially making the projects so that they are worthy of 20% of a whole? Do you know what I'm saying? So if, for example, one of the project is what result are we pumping out for this graduating class, then that is deserving, in my mind, of a larger score because it's also coming in conjunction with, let's say it's a safety initiative for the schools, but then he also has increasing technology usage or AI programs for our efficiencies as a district. So that's where the 20% magnitude came from, is really we have free reign on making those projects as heavy as we want, essentially. So that's where that came from, but all of that to say I'm flexible as well. So, Mr. Dallas.
Dr. Carr mentioned 12, 12, 6.
Mm-hmm.
I would be happy with that.
Okay. I'm scribbling out the proposal. Oh, 12, 6. Thank you,
okay?
Dr. Carr. Ms. Frazier, do you have anything? Any comments? Oh, did she type?
Yeah, she says student achievement should be the main focus.
I agree with them.
I think that's doing that, because some of these
The
projects
projects can
will-
be
will
academic.
be
Correct.
in that.
Targeted.
Yes.
I can guarantee you that at least one of the projects is going to affect.
Okay. So, do we want to make a motion to present that to the full board? The 12, 12, 12, 6?
I'll read the motion.
Yep.
Motion to decrease student recruitment.
Yep.
Or, teacher recruitment and retention from 15 to
10%.
10%. Giving a weight of 20%. Now
No,
we're not looking at 12%
6.
to superintendents.
6.
No, 6% is the college readiness. I thought
No.
you said
No,
12, 12, 6.
No,
6%. Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
at,
we need to
well-
go back on that then.
I'm at 12 for achievement, 12 for college and career ready, and
Right.
6 for project. That's where I was.
Okay, I was thinking something
12%.
completely different. I feel like the projects need more than 6.
No, I thought we had 12, 12, 6.
We're
12, 6,
divided on
12.
who's thinking what.
12, 6, 12.
12, 6, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's
the
what
I- Okay.
proposal.
12, 6,
12, reading from the top.
Okay,
Are you okay with that,
Yeah.
Colonel Geyer?
right. Yep.
That the projects would be less than even the college?
Yep.
Cause then we're putting majority of the weight on that.
12, 12, 6.
Well, it would be 12, 6.
12,
12.
6, 12. Okay. Okay,
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Cause before you said you didn't want more of the,
well, I can.
or can we do 10 for, can we meet in the middle and do 10 for college and career and, sorry, I'm looking at his map, 8 for projects?
I'm okay.
Okay,
Okay, so
8 in the
So
middle.
12, 8, 10.
12,
Correct.
8, 10.
We can always adjust it as in
Okay,
the future. All right, sorry, Colonel Blair.
that's all right.
Thank you.
12, 8% to students.
No,
12%,
8% is project,
12% for achievement,
12% achievement.
8%
8%
project,
project,
and
10%
10%
10%.
for college and career ready.
correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so motion to decrease to teacher recruitment and retention from 15 to 10, giving the weight of,
Oh, yes, so that whole section is what we're talking about. The
Yeah.
student achievement would be a total weight of 30%. Wait, let me read how this motion was written.
yeah,
We-
So the way the
Motion to
We're
decrease,
in multiple,
yeah, hold on. Teacher recruitment from 15 to 10%,
10%.
giving the weight of. Okay, we need,
superintendent projects is 8.
okay, this is fine, because the math will still be
Yeah.
correct. Okay.
Madam Chairman, did I miss a piece of paper in my folder?
I have no idea, I did not.
No,
I'm
It's in
sorry.
there. It's on page 10, Mr. Smith.
Okay, no, I'm asking because I noticed that some of them have that.
they have the motions
They have-
because they have.
We're the
motions
committee
because they're
members.
the Committee, so the committee is making the motion, so they are only two who have motions.
Right, but I'm asking because I figured those motions were pre-made. So I thought that those motions have been given, so it would be a part of the package. So I'm
No,
trying to figure out where that
it
comes
has not been given to.
I would just read it that way, 'cause it's still gonna
suggested
add up to
motions
the
for the
same.
committee members to decide if they're going to make it, so no. So those are the only two that have it.
from. Thanks for that.
Okay.
10% that much, 10%. And 12% for achievement. Students.
Yeah, but it's
Leah
still,
says,
it's still that student achievement would be 30%.
Leah says projects need to be specifically defined before the year starts, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
Mhm.
And then she says they are developing the motions.
yes.
Okay, so if you wanna read it that way, the math will still add up properly. I think
Okay.
Robin was just thinking of it differently, meaning that the weighted total
Yeah.
section for student achievement is moving to 30.
Okay.
It's still 30, right?
Still
Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
Yes, 12, 8.
But that's
10.
where the confusion.
Got it.
Decrease from 15 to 10.
Correct.
You got that? You got the motion to decrease teacher recruitment and retention from 15 to
Well,
10.
we're reading it as a full motion,
Okay.
so,
Giving, giving the weight of 8% to
Correct.
superintendent's projects,
mhm.
12% to academics or achievement, right? So instead of academics, it should say
It'd be achievement.
Achievement, so.
And 10% to college and career ready.
Correct.
Yep.
You got it.
Okay. You got it.
Motion to decrease teacher recruitment and retention from 15% to
10%,
10%,
right?
giving the weight of 20%.
No.
No,
8,
giving the weight of
8%
8% to superintendent,
and projects.
10, what goes?
12,
12%
12%
to
to
achieve,
no,
to
it should
achievement,
be achievement.
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 10% to college and career
And
ready.
10%, got it.
Okay? Yes.
Just let us know when you're ready, Robin. Oh, no. I'm-
You handled it well.
Thank you, sir.
To decrease teacher recruitment and retention, 15% to 10%, giving the weight of 8% to superintendent projects, 12% to achievement, and 10% to college or career ready.
All right,
Bingo.
Is that right?
do you have to say it?
Yep. Okay. I think we're ready to go.
We are.
And
Ready to vote?
Yep. I didn't know if you had to reread it or Robin
No,
reading
Rob-
it.
Rob-
Division. Okay,
Rob-
those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right,
Motion carried.
motion carries 3-3. Or 3. What did I say? 3. 3-0. All right, adjournment by unanimous consent. Yes, no?
Absolutely.
Aye.
Great.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Very well.
Thank you.
Good conversation.
Yeah.
Very good.
Can I make one,
And
Yeah.
then can I steal you
yes, ma'am?
for a few